You know that person who seems completely fine all day, and then at 2 in the morning, they're lying in the dark replaying a conversation from 3 years ago? The one who suddenly winces at nothing, and when you ask, says nothing, it's stupid? Yeah? That person isn't unstable, and they're not dwelling on purpose either. If you're someone whose brain waits until the lights go out to hand you a highlight reel of everything you've ever done wrong, welcome. You're about to feel very seen. Because today, we're getting into the psychology of people who replay conversations at 2 a.m. The thing everyone calls overthinking, but that your brain is doing for a reason nobody ever explained to you. Here's what nobody has ever told you. Those replays are not a malfunction. They're not weakness, and they're not you being dramatic. What your brain is doing at 2 in the morning is one of the most specific, predictable things a human nervous system does. And there's a reason it happens then and not at 2 in the afternoon. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to understand your own nights in a way you never have before. Let's start with what everyone gets wrong about you. People assume you're choosing this, that you're lying there deliberately picking at something like you enjoy it. They say things like, "Why are you still thinking about that?" As if you sat down and decided to, as if there's a switch and you're just refusing to touch it. But that's not what it feels like from the inside, is it? You weren't thinking about it, you were falling asleep. And then it arrived, fully formed, the exact sentence, the exact face they made, the exact half second where you should have said something different. You didn't summon it, it came for you. That's not a character flaw. That's your brain finishing a job you didn't know it had opened. There's a psychologist named Bluma Zygarnik who noticed something strange back in the 1920s. Waiters in a cafe could remember complicated orders perfectly, right up until the food was delivered. The moment the order was complete, it vanished from their memory. Unfinished things stay loud. Finished things go quiet. Your brain runs on that same rule. It keeps an open loop humming in the background until something feels resolved. And for you, an awkward goodbye is an open loop. A conversation that ended slightly wrong is an open file that never got closed, so it stays open. Humming, waiting for a quiet moment. And 2 in the morning is the quietest moment you have. Now here's the part that almost nobody knows, and it's the reason this happens at night specifically. Researchers including Andrew Tubbs and Michael Grandner have described something they call the mind after midnight. The idea is that late at night, the parts of your brain that normally keep things in proportion are running at reduced power, while the parts that generate fear and rumination are not. Your judgment clocks out before your imagination does. So the exact same memory that would feel like nothing at noon feels enormous at 2, not because it got worse, because your ability to weigh it got weaker. You are not being irrational at 2 a.m. You are being irrational adjacent on purpose by design, because your brain turned down the lights on the department that would have told you it didn't matter. But this doesn't explain why it's always the social memories, why it's never a spreadsheet error, why it's always the thing you said. You weren't born like this. Nobody is. Small children say wildly embarrassing things and then go eat a snack. They don't lie awake auditing themselves. Something teaches you to. At some point, something taught you that being misread had a cost. Maybe you said something honest and watched a room go cold. Maybe you were the kid who was told they were too much, or too quiet, or too sensitive, and you learned to check yourself against other people's faces before you spoke. Maybe you got it wrong once, publicly, and never quite put it down. So you built a system. A quiet internal reviewer that goes back over every interaction looking for the moment it went wrong, so it never happens again. And here's the thing about that system. It isn't broken. It's working. It's doing exactly what you built it to do. It's just running at 2 a.m. with no one to report to. There's a neuroscientist named Naomi Eisenberger who put people in a brain scanner and had them get quietly excluded from a simple game. The regions that lit up were the same ones that light up for physical injury. Your brain processes being disliked, being misunderstood, being left out, using the same machinery it uses for a broken bone. Which means the replays aren't you being oversensitive. Your brain flagged a social wound as a real wound, and it keeps going back to inspect it, the same way your tongue keeps going back to a chipped tooth. And now here's the part that might genuinely surprise you. Everyone else sees someone lying still in the dark. What's actually happening in there is one of the most intensive processes your mind is capable of. You're not just remembering, you're running it back frame by frame. What did my face do? Did they pause before answering? Or did I imagine that? Was that a joke, or was that the polite version of something else? Have I done this before with someone else? What is the pattern? If I bring it up tomorrow, does that make it bigger? What would I have to become for this to stop happening? That is not idle worry. That is a mind modeling other minds at depth, with a level of care most people never once applied to their relationships. You are running social simulations that other people simply do not bother to run. The cost is your sleep. The benefit is that you are almost never careless with people. Because that's the part nobody connects. The same machinery that keeps you up is the machinery that makes you notice when someone's tone drops half a step. It's why your friends tell you things. It's why you clock the person going quiet at the edge of the group. You are not accidentally perceptive. You are perceptive because some part of you has been studying this footage for years. And here's the painful irony, and this one stings. The thing that would actually help you is almost never what you get. What you get is, just stop thinking about it. Let it go. You're overthinking. Every one of those confirms the thing you already quietly suspect, which is that your way of processing is faulty, and everyone else got the normal version. What you actually need is much harder to ask for. Someone to say, that's a real thing, your brain does at night, it's not proof you did something wrong, and it will look different in the morning. Because it will. That's the strangest, most reliable part of all of this. The memory doesn't change overnight. Your ability to weigh it comes back with the light. And I want to be honest with you here because you deserve honesty more than flattery. The replaying itself doesn't solve anything. A researcher named Susan Nolan Hoeksema spent her career on this and found that going over the same event repeatedly doesn't produce new insight. The 17th replay contains nothing. The first one didn't. It just feels like work because it's exhausting. So no, I'm not going to tell you the 2 a.m. spiral is secretly good for you. It isn't. It's the same fine instrument pointed at the wrong thing at the wrong hour with nobody around to help you weigh it. But that instrument is real. And it is not the thing that's wrong with you. It's the thing that makes you worth talking to. So when you put it all together, here's what's actually happening. You replay conversations at 2 a.m. because your brain refuses to close an unfinished loop. Because at that hour, the part of you that keeps things in proportion has gone offline. Because being misread registers in your brain as an actual injury. And because somewhere back there you learned that getting it wrong cost you something, and you built a system to make sure it wouldn't happen again. You are not unstable. You are not obsessive. You are not too sensitive or too much or broken in some way that other people got a fix for. You are someone who takes other people seriously enough to think about them carefully. And that same care, at the wrong hour, with the lights off and no one to check it against, turns and points at you. The people who understand you will learn that your quiet isn't distance. And one day, maybe not tonight, you'll catch yourself mid-replay and recognize it for what it is. Not evidence. Just your brain doing the thing it does, in the dark, at the hour when nothing is measured correctly. That's not a flaw you have to fix. That's just something to know about yourself. If this felt like someone finally put words to something you've been carrying alone, click subscribe. There's more of this here. Your brain didn't want you to know, but now you do.